right, let's get into talking about Hank. Now, we're going to go on a little bit of a deep dive in here, a little bit of his backstory. Now, of course, Hank is a Korean. He's South Korean. And he, for a time, lived in the United States. Now, this is going to go into his backstory. Now, why am I doing this? Let me say this. Start here. And this is where the Hank content gets deep. We're doing this because this stuff that Johnny has done in Korea would not be possible without allies that were in Korea. If he didn't have people in Korea that were helping him, he would never have been able to do this. He would never have been able to get this far. He would have failed out. He would have been buffed out. He would have been arrested quickly. In fact, if Hank was not there when the police came several times, I guarantee you this would have been stopped earlier. If it was just Johnny, he would have been stopped earlier. However, it was not. And that actually did help Johnny materially. In addition, he was giving Johnny essentially legal advice, essentially telling him what was legal and not legal. When we watched the ABC Pizza video, we saw repeatedly Hank said to Johnny, hey, if you disrupt their business, right, they can sue you. If you make them lose money, they can sue you, right? He was telling him like, hey. In other cases, he was actually, even in the fireworks video, he was saying, hey, watch the tree, because if you burnt the tree, that could be criminal, right? So there were there was things along the way. You can see that Hank was like wary of crimes. He's very aware of what is criminal and what is not. Now, that very much helped him. But that caused people to ask, well, who is Hank? Who is this guy that was helping him? What's his background? Who is he? Where does he come from? And I'm going to give this kind of without bias in terms of just a little bit of the background here. And there is some stuff I know that some people are going to have some reactions and feelings about. And I would just say, once again, this is not to make a political comment on any of this, stuff from the U.S. side, right? But it's more to just show you, okay, this is who Hank is, and this is the type of person who is coming into this scenario, right? So most people knew Hank. Hank was actually a little bit of an internet meme before he came to the Johnny Somali situation. So many people recognized him for some of his let's call it cosplay. Let's call it cosplay. So here's Hank over here, and a little bit of his reenactment. I don't know whether he actually did real reenactment or not, but a little bit of his reenactment there. Now his real name is Heonjong, right? He's called Hank. Most people call him Hank, but his real name is Heonjong, just so you guys know. And then I'll play another one here. There's another little clip of him that was very infamous. Once again, these were very infamous images that were shared around before. Now, regardless of how you may feel about his ability to, dress up in a tri-corner hat and throw an American flag up, and perhaps some interesting flags there in the background. But that said, that was what he was doing in the United States. Also, there's a very interesting video of him here. Let me play this one here. This is very interesting little video of Hank. Okay, little bit of stuff over here. Okay, so we're gonna play this video. I'm just gonna play a couple seconds of this one. Here's old Hank doing some twirling. So let me get
the Black Lives Matter. Dixie two arms.
Okay, so I'm not gonna sit through the Dixie theme that he plays after that, but essentially he was making some videos online, and one of the reasons why he was doing this, and why I think he engaged with Johnny Somali is he became sort of like an internet meme. He kind of blew up on being a little bit of a meme, right? He made some like statements, some like racially charged statements, and that went viral. And this happens with a lot of people on the internet. And frankly, it's not just Hank, it's a lot of people. Well, they'll do one thing and they'll blow up. The best example of this is he's like the South Korean version of the Hawk Tuah girl, right? You guys all know the Hawk Tuah girl, right? I'm sure you know the Hawk Tuah girl. But he's kind of like the South Korean Hawk Tuah girl. Like he had his little moment for doing something controversial. Now he's made racially charged statements, other stuff like that, that got him his bump in subs. Of course, he then got banned off of YouTube. So he had a YouTube, I guess, that hit at some point 300K subs, which can happen if you have a viral moment. If you have a viral moment, you can all of a sudden jump up in subs. The problem is with viral moments like Hawk Tuah is when you try to make them into a thing, when you try to make that into an entire personality and a thing. And obviously with Hawk Tuah girl, she now may have to deal with the SEC because she's, maybe doing some stuff with crypto that was kind of scammy, right? I mean, you can look over to CoffeeZilla, who does good coverage on that. And everybody else, right? She tried to make a podcast, trying to make something out, try to stretch that 15 seconds of fame, that TikTok, into a lifetime. And look, I don't blame anybody for trying to do that, but if that's your whole personality, then, it's kind of difficult. Now with Hank, if making a crazy statement is your entire personality, we'll understand that the problem with that is a lot of platforms are going to ban you. Right? Because obviously if you said something offensive, if you said something that's like beyond the pale, that's going to get you banned. That's going to get you banned. So he did that, but beyond that, he actually committed some crimes in the United States. Now, a lot of people will point out that I'm not a South Korean lawyer. I am not. However, I am an American lawyer, and I am very equipped to review American cases. And in fact, federal cases are entirely within my purview. So we are now going to review, we have 2 cases right now involving Heonjong. And you guys can look these up at home. For those keeping track, you can look at this up. This is in the 5th Court of Appeals, the 5th Circuit Court of Appeals, United States versus Heonjong 2020. This is Hank. This is his U.S. case. I don't think anybody has pulled this up at this point. I think I'm the first one. And of course, this is public information. Under the U.S. law, this is clearly not, this is something that's absolutely not defamation because it's part of public record, right? And we're just going to read through it. And we're not going to do a PowerPoint. Now, I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm going to read the background and and then we're going to read some of the conclusions because there's 2 different ones here. But let's read what he was convicted of. Heonjong was convicted on 8 counts under the Gun Control Act, 7 counts of making false statements to a federally licensed gun dealer in violation of 18 U.S.C. 924, and 1 count of possession of a firearm by a prohibited person in violation of Section 922. Because the evidence was sufficient to establish each element of 924, we affirm his conviction on 1 through 7. But because Yu was not committed to a mental institution within the meaning of 922, we reverse the judgment of conviction. So this is important. Hank, or Heonjong was saying that he was committed to a mental institution. That was a material part of the findings. So let's read the background here, because this is very interesting. Heonjong was, and by the way, I'm reading this neutrally, regardless of how I feel about the Gun Control Act and federal gun laws. I'm just reading this out, right? I'm not giving my really opinion on any of that. Heonjong was involuntarily committed to treatment under New Jersey's temporary ex parte procedure twice. So involuntarily committed against his will. In August of 2013, you agreed to be transported to Rutgers University Police Department, RUPD, to a hospital for evaluation. There, a screener, a physician, and a psychiatrist determined that you met the criteria for mental illness, was a danger to himself and others, and should be involuntarily committed to a mental institution. Based on their certifications, a New Jersey Superior Court judge found probable cause to believe that you was in need of involuntary commitment. The judge issued a temporary order for involuntary commitment of adults, ordering that you be committed to a hospital pending a court hearing. In about 2 weeks, you was discharged from the hospital 4 days before the scheduled hearing. RUPD took you to a hospital for another evaluation in 2015. So 2 years later, Rutgers took him in, right? Once again, a screener physician and psychiatrist determined that you met the criteria for mental illness and should be committed. And once again, a New Jersey Superior Court judge ordered that you be temporarily committed pending a court hearing 12 days later. You was discharged 6 days before a scheduled hearing. A few months later, in January 2016, you tried to buy a gun. But because the National Instant Criminal Background Check, NICS, revealed that you had been adjudicated as mentally deficient and committed to a mental institution, his purchase was denied. I love how people always say the system doesn't work, and then it does, and then, yeah. Anyways, that is a little bit of my opinion there, but that actually just shows the system, well, it worked. The FBI explained upon Yu's inquiry that he was a prohibited person under one of the 10 possible categories in Section 921 and 922, but did not specify which one applied. You kept trying, but often successfully, to buy firearms from 2016 to 2017. So he was able to actually buy some guns between 2016 and 17. Each time he had to fill out a Form 4473 issued by the ATF, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. In response to the question on that form, you stated he was a citizen of the United States 7 times. Right? So 7 different times he said he was a U.S. citizen. He correctly identified his country of citizenship as South Korea, not the United States, twice. So he is a South Korean citizen. He is not an American citizen. Yu was convicted of 8 crimes under the Gun Control Act, 7 counts of making a false statement to a federally licensed firearms dealer in violation of 924, and 1 count of possession by a prohibited person under 922. He appeals the conviction. This was his appeal. So let's go down to the bottom, because I'm not going to go through all of the logic here. So we conclude that Yu's temporary hospitalization based on an ex parte order signed without the hearing does not constitute commitment to a mental institution. So one of those was overturned because, the temporary commitment wasn't actually meeting the statute, and that's kind of following the statute strictly. So the court says, okay, he didn't meet the actual legal definition of that, so we're reversing on that. But as to everything else, he's still affirmed. He's still in trouble. So that was his first court case. So mind you, once again, this is a first court case. Now, we're going to talk a lot today about money. And we're going to talk a lot today about the amount of money that Johnny has, the amount of money that Hank has. It's a very relevant question. These appeals, like this, are extremely expensive. There is no way that a person with no money could do them. It's impossible. You would need to be severely bankrolled to do this. This is not something that you could do for like $350, right? This is something that's going to cost tens of thousands of dollars. If not, this is the appellate court. So to go to the district court, it could have cost $100,000. We don't really know the cost, but it's not $1,000. It would be at minimum somewhere $10,000, $20,000, $30,000. It's significant. The cost is significant. So especially if you've got an attorney, even if you're doing it pro se, which he wasn't, right? Which he wasn't, because you can see that here. He had a law firm. He had a law firm, right? The Von Cleef law firm, Longview, Texas. All right. Or actually, no, I'm sorry. Was that his? No, yeah, that's his. That's his appellee as L. Charles Von Cleef, the Von Cleef law firm, Longview, Texas. So they represented him there. So he had a lawyer. He was not doing this pro se. So that's one lawsuit. But that wasn't the only one. We have another one. Yeah, we have another one. And it's just as recent as last year. Hank is still trying to get back in the U.S. He's still trying to fight to get back in the U.S. 2023, May 2023, literally last year, this was published. Heonjong Yu versus United States. So once again, he filed a motion to vacate his sentence under 28 U.S.C. 225. So he was convicted under those acts, right? And he tried to appeal. He got one thing knocked down, but the rest of it was affirmed, right? And we lay out the facts here. It also, this is an important fact here. Movement advised the court, and let's actually put it here. This is a really relevant fact. Movement advised the court he was deported to the Republic of Korea where he resides. So he was deported on 2021. So you can tell that Hank really, really wants to get back. Once again, really wants to try to get back. So he makes similar arguments here, and I want to just kind of scroll down because it really, we want to get to the beef here. He also argues, this is actually really hilarious. Let me see if I can find this. He tries to argue there was jury bias. This is a really funny argument. I have rarely seen this one. Okay, here's one. So he tries to argue. So this is a funny one. As an American attorney, he tries to argue that the judge made me swear to the Christian God, and I'm not a Christian. That was his argument. The argument was that in court, the judge was making him swear to the Christian God, and he's not a Christian, right? And that was a proof of jury bias. So that was going to, because it was a Texas case, and because everybody knows Texans are all Christians, right? This is Hank's argument. His lawyers made this argument, Hank made this argument, that because Hank is not a Christian, and because a judge tried to make him swear to the Christian God, that there was a jury bias. Actually, that wasn't what happened. And you actually get this is actually the transcript. So I'm going to read you guys the transcript. This is actually fucking hilarious. So this is the relevant part. And I'm going to do the voices. The court, call your next witness, Mr. Yu. That's it, sir. I would like to self-testify. The court says, take the stand. Mr. Yu says, may I testify from here? So let me pause. So right here, Hank is trying to testify from like where you stand with your lawyer, right? From the bench, right? Or sorry, not from the bench, from the prosecution stand or the lawyer's table, right? The plaintiff side, defense's side, they have kind of the tables, the judge is at the front, and you have a witness stand. You need to come forward as a witness. So he's trying to tell the judge, first of all, self-testify is not the right term. Right? Just, you're going to testify. Okay, I get it. And so, may I testify from here? No, the judge tells you to take the witness stand. He says, oh, well, I need to present. And so I think Hank has read some like sovereign citizen stuff. And if you guys know anything about sovereign citizens, they are the lolcows. They are the absolute jokes of the legal world. Some of my favorite streams to do, and I do, of course, court watching streams where I watch trials, I watch things. Some of the best ones are sovereign citizens or people that are sort of like sovereign citizens. They make crazy arguments. Those are some of the best. Those are some of the most fun cases. They're absolutely fascinating to watch. This is sort of like a sovereign citizen-y argument where he's going like, oh, I need to do this. He's like kind of telling the judge. Whenever you start telling the judge how things are going to go, you know you fucked up. So let's go here. The judge says, you can take it to the witness stand if you raise your right hand, and Miss Schroeder will swear you in. And this is oath administered. And then Mr. Yu says, I am not a Christian, ma'am, but I do solemnly affirm in the name of President Washington. By the name of good old George, I do affirm. Just so you guys know, you don't have to actually, just a real quick fact check here. You do not have to be a Christian to swear. You just have to say that what you're saying is truthful, right? Any so help me God or anything is essentially just a relic of a past day, right? It's not actually legally impactful whether or not you are religious, right? You just swear to tell the truth. That's pretty much it, right? You are promising you're going to tell the truth so that if you are lying, you could be convicted of perjury, right? That is the real important thing there, that you're saying what you're saying is true. Your religiosity is not there. In fact, if being religious could get you out of court, well, then that would get a lot of people out of court, right? Because a lot of people are non-religious, especially nowadays. Even many people who may have been born Christians or baptized don't really identify as that. So, end of this case, Rio, here's the recommendation. Oh, and sorry. Under the controlling standard, movement, that's Hank, must show that reasonable juries could debate whether or not the petition should be resolved in a different manner. Movement has not made any substantial showing of a denial of a constitutional right, nor has he shown that reasonable jurists could debate whether his motion to vacate or correct sentence should have been resolved in a different manner, or that issues presented are adequate to deserve encouragement to proceed further. Consequently, he is not entitled to a certificate of appealability. He was fucking wrecked in court. He was completely blown out of water. Guys, this case, this year in 2023, this is last year, would have been tens of thousands of dollars to go through and file and put together, which is very interesting because we've had information come out, and I know that the people out there in Johnny's super secret communications are salty about it, but you've got over here a comment from Hank, whose ID here is Petronius, which is actually, if you remember that video that we caught with the fireworks, he calls himself Petronius. And you see this message right here from Hank? You see his picture. You can see his picture here. So we're clearly here. It's Hank, right? So Hank says, yo, I need someone to send me some financial support. I am doing fucking terribly right now due to all these legal bullshit. This guy says, oh, you don't say. Me, after I searched your name online. I got like 40 NEETs. NEETs is like another word for hikikomori, not in education or not in education, employment, or training. So it's like people who are at home all day, which he's the NEET, right? He's the one who really doesn't have a job. It's kind of a loser. I've got like 40 NEETs conspiring against me. I need to hire a lawyer to crush them. So he's literally begging for money from Johnny's supporters. So he's actually going in, this is to Johnny's supporters and Johnny's community, and begging Johnny's community when Johnny has no money, when Johnny has no attorney. Johnny's has a public defender, which once again, public defenders aren't bad, but they're not the best. They're not the highest quality, right? Johnny doesn't have a top tier attorney. So he's begging Johnny's community for money when Johnny doesn't even have it. And what type of friend does this? You know? What type of friend? What type of friend, instead of thinking of you, is thinking of himself in his own legal case? And by the way, so he's trying to sue people for money. So he just wants to sue people so he can make some money. So he can get some money here. This created a little bit of commotion. Also, there were some other statements that were a little bit controversial, right? So Hank made another one here. This is one of his super secret messages. So people are asking, how's the legal situation going? And he says, good for me, bad for Johnny. Good for me, bad for Johnny. He's, but 10 years seems excessive. That's somebody responding to Hank. And then Hank saying, well, most likely Johnny won't go to prison. Most likely, but he didn't say for sure. Because even he knows that it's not looking good at this point because they're stacking charges and more are coming. So a lot of people have been pushing back against him and kind of compiling his statements against him. And I'm just going to play. In fact, we'll do the YouTube one first. There's a lot of this stuff is on Rumble, but this is a really interesting compilation. Let's just say I'm going to pull this up, guys. It's a little bit of a compilation. So strap in. There's a little bit of offensive language here, a little bit of spicy content. So this is a compilation that someone made, The Truth About Hank, right? And it's got a compilation of the video as well as some statements by Hank. Right. Okay, let's continue.
Some money.
Okay, call the cops. I don't care, Hank. It's a content.
All right,
Call him.
Call the cops.
Call him. Okay, you call him, Hank. I don't think we should call him.
So he was there saying he wants money or he will call the cops. So constantly what you're going to see as the theme is Hank needs money.
Police. We came here. There's no reason to call the police. That's to call the police. Nope.
So even Ramsey Khalid Ismail, the Golden Goblin, is calling Hank a bitch for in his words, not even mine, his words. That's Ramsey Khalid Ismail's words. for calling the cops. And he wants to call the cops on people whose house they showed up at. Think about that for a second. They showed up and harassed these people. We saw this video with fireworks, with everything else. And Hank wants to be called the cops, and Ramsey calls them out. Very hilarious.
Don't call the police.
I want some money.
You want some money?
He wants money. See, and you're going to see this as a theme. Hank is broke as hell.
You're not calling the cops, chat. That's some shit. Why would I call? I don't call. Johnny Somali does not call cops. I even told Hank, we're not calling the fucking cops. What the fuck?
He's literally on the phone with them. So this is in the car actually as they're moving around same night.
I'll give him that.
I want some legal.
But I'm learning where the line is.
Yo, listen.
We're gonna see and oh yeah, here's the clip I really want to show. This is the best part.
Money, dude.
Whatever you do, I cannot control you. I told you not to call the fucking.
Why shouldn't I call the cops?
Don't.
Give me a reason why.
Because then we snitches. We don't snitch.
Yo, dude.
Don't call the cops.
I want some money, man.
We not snitch.
So okay. He says, why shouldn't I call the cops? And he's saying, I want money. And listen to how much money he's complaining over. Okay? This is the best part.
I
Here we
don't
go,
know how
here
I
we go.
find these psychopaths in every cut.
I get fuel, man.
All right, bet. I got cash. Go to the gas station. I got cash.
By the way,
Yeah.
like, I paid a lot of tolls too, you know?
I got you.
The tolls are like a couple dollars. So he's wanting him to chip in for like, and which is reasonable. By the way, it is reasonable to ask somebody to chip in for gas and tolls, right? But it's like it's not a huge amount of money, right? It's not a huge amount of money. But let's see. He's going to complain about a very specific amount of money right now.
I'll pay all the tolls, bro.
And I also lost 10,000 won.
How'd you lose 10,001?
I dropped it somewhere. I don't know. Fuck, man.
What? That's not my fault.
That's not your fault.
Yeah, that's not my fault. You can't blame that. The tolls,
I
I'll
was
pay for
like-
the tolls and the gas.
I was like hurting my ass. So like, donation's gonna easily cover the 10,001, right?
Yes, for sure. I'll give you 25% of what I made tonight. I'll calculate it tomorrow.
All right. Well,
So right there, 10,001. And in case you guys don't know, I'm going to do a little quick calculation for you guys. In case you guys don't know, at the current exchange rate, because it actually has dropped down quite significantly. Okay, I'm going to flashbang you guys a little bit. Sorry about that. So guard your eyes a little bit on this one. But 10,001 right now is 6.97 USD. It's $7, right? Literally busting him up over $7. $7 US dollars. Insane. Now, yes, he was saying it was his fault he lost it, but what I'm saying, once again, it's all about the money, right? And you don't argue about that unless you've got some serious money issues, right? You've got some serious money concerns. So, of course, Hank was not very happy about these videos. In fact, this was his response, I believe, to this video or another similar video about that. This is him over here, Rising Eagle 93, who posted LMAO Defamation 101 over here. I'm Hank Yu, and I'm telling you, all of you, to unsubscribe. So Hank, obviously, once again, he's trying to bully people with like Korean laws. He's trying to use Niji Sanji logic, which is, I'm going to use Asian defamation laws against Americans. Because a lot of the people that are posting this are in America, or they're like Kyopo or whatever else. And a lot of the people that are mad about this are abroad. So he's trying to take those laws from Korea and apply them abroad. And by the way, most of this would not be defamatory because it's public interest, right? Because it's clearly public interest for the public footage of Ramsey Khalid Ismail, who's on trial to be played. And most of these statements are from public statements or things that are said in Discord to an open group of people, right? Once again, about irrelevant persons. So these are things that are of public interest. So even under Korean law, these things would probably be permitted, right? But he's trying to take this and apply it abroad, and it's just not going to work, right? And his demand for everybody to unsubscribe is not going to work. So one more. This is an interesting one, because so a lot of the things here have been commenting. Okay, well, how is Hank getting his money? Well, one thing is, and it's been pointed out, is he likely has a very wealthy parent. And most people are speculating it's his mom, right? So his mom is like extremely wealthy. And, that's how he's getting all of the money to file these legal cases, because otherwise he wouldn't be able to. And in case you guys don't know, there's kind of in Korea, and in my Korean brothers and sisters, you guys can back me up here. In Korea, there's kind of social stratification based a lot on wealth, assets, etc. Right? So there's this concept of spoons and like what type of spoon you are. Obviously, most of us are aware of the concept of a silver spoon, right, being high end, right? So that's something here. Now, whether or not he's at the highest end or middle, lower, whatever, but obviously there's some significant funding here behind him. But there was a particularly interesting comment here about his will. Now, of course, a will is something that you leave when you die. And typically, if someone dies without a will, or even does have a will, they would leave it to someone who's their family, maybe their wife. Obviously, he's unmarried. I'm actually, once again, I'm not sure, and it's not material as to what his sexual orientation is, right? Whether he's bisexual or gay, whatever, it doesn't matter to me. But of course, you could leave it to somebody else. So he actually comments here who he would leave his will to. And mind you, like I said, his parents or parent, right, has been funding him this entire time, supporting him this entire time. And look, despite that, right, who does he say he would leave his will to? Who does he say he would leave his will to? Let's play this.
That's his best friend. That's the friend he left the will for.
Oh, really?
He's black like us.
So if you die, the will goes to him? I'll take it?
You gotta get it notarized for you. Sorry, don't say that. Sorry. I won't say it. Shut up. Let me shut up. You think your mom watches?
Dude, you fucked up, man. Come on, man.
You think your mom watches, Hank?
No.
No way.
But someone might send that to my mom. Stupid ass motherfucker. Come on, man. Holy fucking shit, man.
My bad.
Stupid motherfucker.
Sorry, I didn't know your mom might watch or someone might send it to her. I didn't know.
So Hank got really mad at Johnny because Johnny was commenting that he is leaving his will is going to a friend, not to his mom, not to anybody else, not the people that helped him, not his parents. And he got pissed about that because someone might send it to his mom. Well, probably going to find out now, huh? Probably going to find out now. Might cut him off. Might be kind of bad for him, right? Got really pissed off that little point. It's kind of a little note there, right, about what made Hank really mad, mentioning that publicly because he did that. And imagine your parents have been supporting your entire life, and and mind you, he has no assets anyways. He has nothing to give. It literally is just a moral statement of like I'm leaving it to my buddy instead of my parents.